And we are back live once again here at AWS Sydney Summit, glorious Darling Harbour. Welcome to Innovation Day, and we're joined on stage by a special guest, one of our partners and customers. We have Semen Nurkic, who actually has an interesting LinkedIn profile. So I would suggest to the listeners at home, do a search for Semen Nurkic, SEMIN-NURKIC, because he's got an interesting title. I'll actually let you introduce yourself and the title that you have.
I appreciate that, yeah. I titled myself the best looking guy in tech.
Right,
so.
I think Sean might argue about that. But,
but thanks for bringing that up, I appreciate it.
I'm looking forward to you getting the email that's like 10,000 people have viewed your profile. You're like among the top 1 influencers on LinkedIn.
Right, it's going to be great.
And can you maybe tell us a little bit about Whooshkaa?
Yeah, Whooshkaa is an audio on demand platform. We started right here in Sydney. We've grown up right here in Sydney. We are one of the largest podcast hosting providers in this region, and we've been working with AWS and AI ML services for a few years now on a quite variety of interesting use cases, especially in audio and audio tech.
Right, because your background is around AI with computer vision and natural language processing. Maybe tell the audience a little bit about your background and how you found yourself working with a company like Whooshkaa.
Yeah, so I always had a really keen interest in AI, ML. I had a good experience as a co-founder and CTO of a company called Stackler, in which we did a lot of visual recognition and processing of user-generated content. And so I found it really interesting that the AI, ML around audio carries a lot of the same techniques that you use in visual recognition of imagery and visual content. So right. It felt like a really nice segue for me to move into audio and audio tech, and yeah, love it. Love it since.
Okay, and so we talked a little bit before this segment about kind of how that company came about, how you got sort of interested in this tech and how you're applying it. Can you talk through kind of the story, I guess, on Whooshkaa and how that's evolved?
Yeah, Whooshkaa was founded by the CEO of a large radio network in Australia, and at the time we were really trying to get better analytics and better insights about podcast listening for podcasters. And our introduction into AI ML really came from trying to take news content from a large publisher and doing voice synthesis with it, so generating text-to-speech to publish basically as podcasts around news articles. And there's an interesting story about that. Our CEO, about a month into us doing this, live in production, noticed that the Washington Post was doing a similar type of thing, and a sort of tongue-in-cheek reached out to a senior exec at AWS and said, we beat you by a month. And that came into us having a much better relationship with the AI ML team at AWS.
Right,
nice.
And can you maybe talk a little bit about that relationship, working closely, where you are building, I guess, a service and a product that may be on AWS's roadmap, and how you are able to influence that product direction, if any? It's
been fantastic. I mean, like for us to be able to execute so quickly, to have an idea, go out there, prototype it, get it out live, get feedback from real customers and real use in a quite a complex space such as AI ML is a really good thing. So with services such as Amazon Poly, we've been able to do that through voice synthesis, and same thing with AWS Transcribe and other similar services. It's been a really great thing. And then us being able to offer that to our customers and build products on top of that works really well for us.
Okay. And what about those? Sorry, go ahead, Sean.
I was just going to say, one of the fascinating things about voice is kind of how you can manipulate it through these kind of services. I think there's like a special language that people use to do this. Can you talk a bit about that language and how you use that in your company?
Yeah, so the best way to control that is through SSML, which is speech synthesis markup language.
Okay.
It's XML around giving you control over, tagging parts of basically text script into the way it should be generated into voice. So controlling how loud it is, how soft it is, and also introducing phonemes or better ways to pronounce words that when the robots don't do the job out of the box, we're able to then add features to it and improve it.
So this would be like a phone number, for instance, right? Like people say phone numbers in a very different way to just reading a list of numbers. So you would be able to use SSML to say, hey, this is the phone number. Like
phone numbers, names are a really good example as well. People's names, and company names, and Whooshkaa, for example, the way that it's pronounced, we're able to control a little bit through phonetically control how it's pronounced.
Right.
Okay, I just have got a shout out here. So Barb Crossing's been watching from West Coast US, so very late there. It's 11 p.m. where he currently is, so we appreciate that.
Shout out there.
Thanks for tuning in.
Awesome. And so I guess text-to-speech type technology actually has been around for quite some time, but it's only in the last few years where you've seen that natural language processing platforms. Can you maybe talk to why is that? Why have we seen just this sudden growth in natural language processing, even though the technology has been around for 20, 30 years?
Yeah, I think a lot of us that have worked in this space remember back, 20, 30 years ago, the robotic sounds of those speech. We're typing in usually profanities or something in there trying to get it to speak. But
right.
First of all, the technology itself has improved a lot in the quality of the voice that's coming out, but also the devices that we're using them on and the interaction that we have. We're doing things vocally, and that's changing the way that we're going from a UI into a voice user interface a lot. So it's becoming more and more important in both for the interactive nature as well as the responses back to the user.
Right, right. And so one of your products is Sesame Leaf, is that correct?
That's right.
So two questions. What's the story behind Whooshkaa, name, and Sesame Leaf? And number two, what is Sesame Leaf?
Which one do you want to go first?
The name. Why Whooshkaa?
Why Whooshkaa?
Whooshkaa. Okay, so the story behind that is, it's kind of long story short, someone close to the company, a friend of the company, said basically I'd like to work with or I like to look at companies that are kind of like a horse race, where I like to back a horse, not the one that's right at the front, but I like to back the horse that's kind of coming up the side and just goes Whooshkaa and wins. And that's it's an Australian term that might be not common to foreign viewers, but yeah.
Hence the email to the Poly team about me beating us.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's in our nature.
Right,
yeah.
right, absolutely.
Right.
And then Sesame Leaf.
Sesame Leaf, yeah. So we started working with SSML, and it's essentially a visual markup tool for SSML, similar to what you do HTML on a web page or a web editor. We do that with SSML for voice. So SSML, Sesame Leaf, and that's how it's part of the word. So that's how we do that.
Very creative.
And so this product is actually so that people who are creating this content themselves can use your kind of visual interface to SSML. Is that correct?
That's right. So for a while now, a few years now, we've been doing pushing voice synthesized speech through into podcasts and other sort of Alexa devices. And this is a way for us to create templates and actually create characters out of those voices, so combining both the voice, the rate of speech, the types of the ways that it pronounces words into a character, and then visually mark up text or templates to be using those characters to speech.
Right.
Right. And in terms of how our listeners could get access to Sesame Leaf, is there a demo or how do they subscribe to the service?
Very, very easy. Go to whooshkaa.com. Hopefully somewhere you can share that link. And sign up to the service, let us know, we will give you a demo and you can get your hands on it and use it.
Right. Okay. And so you hear in natural language processing, the next stage is around things like Contextaware. So for example, our listeners may not know Amazon Alexa, our voice services that are prevalent on, for example, Amazon Echo, can identify if you're whispering to it or not and can actually whisper back. Whooshkaa's got a similar sort of concept called characters, where you can sort of piece together these bits of information using SSML. Can you talk a little bit about what characters actually means and how developers could use it to their benefit?
That's right. So rather than marking up SSML, which can be a complicated thing when you have to be repetitive, we're allowing users to define basically characteristics of a character, properties of how words should be spoken, and into a single sort of unit that we call a character, and then applying that to blocks of text and small segments.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I just got a question from the audience, from our Twitch viewers. So can you take different accents into consideration when you're marking up the text? Is it always just English Rose or something, or can you do different voices?
Absolutely, and there's a number of different accents you can choose, and then it helps with different languages. But it's also, you can apply those accents to English, and that works quite well to define a character as well.
Right, so you can tell the difference between Australian and American.
Yeah. That's right. I mean, one of the drivers was actually reading Australian news to Australian audiences and the way that it's pronounced and how we do that. So,
right, and I have to ask, I live in Hong Kong, what about different languages?
Different languages, yeah. So that's on our roadmap very soon. We do mostly English. We do a little bit of Spanish, but we are introducing different languages soon.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, Simon, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate all the insights you've provided. Must say, you might be the best looking guy in IT. Please vote if you agree.
Yeah. Thanks for that, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.